Happy Mardi Gras. Welcome back to Off the Water. I'm your host, Darth Yacker. Joining me tonight is the intern, Tyler Caldwell, as always. We also have with us tonight Francis Tran and Terry Pham. These guys placed first and second at last weekend's IFA tournament. So we're going to chat with them tonight and discuss their big wins and, some of their fishing tactics and what they were able to do to pull off the wins amongst a really, really good group of anglers that ended up coming out for that tournament. Also tonight, we're going to discuss Trout Challenge and help some of our newcomers with some launch ideas, rigging, and some tactics. So everybody, this is the final week to register for Trout Challenge. Registration will shut down, I think, at noon on Friday. Is that correct, Tyler?
Yeah, that's correct. Noon on Friday.
Yeah. Also, don't forget to sign up for the side pot for big trout when you register. It's a little click down. It's $5, and if you forgot to sign up for big trout, you can instant message the club on Facebook or reach out to one of the officers, and we'll get it taken care of for you. So, Tyler, do you know how many people we have signed up for Trout Challenge right now?
I hadn't checked it recently. I think it's somewhere around 35 or so, but
okay, great. Well, we usually get a lot of people signing at the last minute. I know some of the officers still hadn't signed up yet, but we're looking hopefully to try to get at least 40 to 50 people sign up for this week. So, look, before we get to Trout Challenge, let's talk with Francis and Terry about this past week's IFA event. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So, Terry, let's start with you first. I know you finished second in this past week's tournament. Tell us a little bit about yourself. One of the great things about this forum is that a lot of the same guys fish. We'll all fish together. We'll run out there, and the next time, hopefully, someone says, "Hey, that's that guy Terry Pham. I know him. I saw him on that podcast that time." I'll come up and say hello. So let's talk with you. Where do you live at, Terry?
I live in Gretna, Louisiana.
Okay. Did you grow up in Gretna?
Yes, I was born and raised in Gretna.
You've been fishing the West Bank all your life?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when I first started kayaking, I guess I fished it a lot.
How long have you been kayak fishing?
About a year and 3 months, maybe.
A year and 3 months, and that's it?
Yeah, about a year and 3 months.
But you fish a lot out of boat though too, I think, don't you?
No, I don't fish out of boat. My first tournament, or my first time ever actually in a kayak, was when I met Aaron for Trout Challenge. I think it was 2 years ago, or not last year, but a year before that.
That was the one down Highway 23?
Yes, the one on 23.
Right. I remember that one.
That was my first time ever on a kayak. The conditions were crazy, and I wound up doing it, and I didn't catch nothing, but I was like, I guess I got the feel of it. But
you're in good company. Tyler, you also didn't catch anything for that particular tournament, as I recall. Is that right?
That's right. I didn't.
Todd Lewis as well, I think. I think basically, had you caught a trout for that tournament, that was the first a trout where we come with the, if only you would have caught one trout for that tournament.
I did catch one, but I was like, I know it's not going to do it. And I started off in a paddle kayak. And that day, if I remember right, it was about 20-mile-per-hour winds.
Yes, it was very windy.
I didn't know what 20-mile-per-hour winds could do.
Especially in a paddle kayak. If I remember right, I think Tyler Drude may have won that one. He had a real nice stringer trout, and I think Lance Burgess may have come in second. I think Lance had a really good trout come in. That was a real difficult day. My drive got stuck early on, and I just said screw it, and I had already qualified for the championship, so I didn't even worry about fishing it. Of course, we had a very similar story last year at Trout Challenge, where not a trout was caught. I forget how many people we had fishing that tournament last year, but we had a polar vortex come through, 40-mile-an-hour winds. I think some people went out and fished for an hour or two, and then we ended up having to give away all the money via random draw because of the conditions. Were you at that one, Terry?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
I was actually.
Sean, did you fish that one?
I showed up.
Oh.
I showed up for the weigh-in because I brought my kayak.
He slept during the tournament.
I did. I got up 3 times, and all 3 times I went outside, looked at the wind, and went back to bed. But that was a difficult tournament. that was one of the reasons why we moved the tournament from the later in the fall to hopefully earlier in the spring, so that we could hopefully get some better weather. So of course, doesn't look like we're going to get 40 knot winds, but we might get 20 knot winds. So that's something we'll talk about in a little bit.
It looks like we have about 41 people signed up as of now. So looking 41. Good.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I know if we get close to 50, that'll be pretty much about what we're expecting. Normally, we do Redfish Rumble at this time of year, and we get a lot of people in for Redfish Rumble. We moved that one to the fall a little bit, late September, and I think everyone's going to be excited about that because it's going to include all of St. Bernard Parish, Delacroix, Reggio areas, but also it's going to include all of Highway 23. For a lot of those guys that like to fish Highway 23, it's going to be a great tournament. I really think we're going to have a good turnout for that event. I would suspect we'll probably get 75, 80 people for that tournament. But well, look, let's go back to your fishing, Terry. I know so you've been fishing for about a year and a half, kayak fishing, and you've been doing it for a year. So, and you started out pretty much the same with me. I know you like to use a cork and some bait under a cork, right?
Yes. I mean, not always, but I think the reason why I started using cork recently is the hookup ratio. Your hookup ratio is better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, and you could catch almost pretty much every species on that certain setup.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've caught plenty of slams using, some type of bait under a cork. I know you like to use the Four Horsemen cork. It's a good cork. And I know you're a big fan of the Gulp products, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So you've been with Bayou Coast, I guess, for about a year or so, year and a half, 2 years?
A little bit before that.
Yeah.
I was on the club for a while, and just working and saving and trying to get my first kayak.
So what was your first kayak?
It was a Vibe Sea Ghost 130.
Yeah. What are you in now?
A Pro Angler 14.
Oh God.
Whoa.
Pro Angler 14 of those wins. I can only imagine.
I bought the Vibe. I had it for a week. Like after I fished Trout Challenge, and I was like, man, these guys are fast. In these pedal drives, I let it go. I sold it probably about a week after, and I bought an Outback.
Mm-hmm.
An Outback. I used that for maybe about a month or two, sold it, and bought a Pro Angler. And after that, I stuck with a Pro Angler.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of guys like those Pro Anglers. They're big, they're a little bit slower, but boy, you got some room on them.
Yes. I mean, the weight does kind of suck at times.
Yeah.
But just like this weekend, the weather really about midday around 12 o'clock, it wasn't the greatest. And, to me, like, I feel like, especially if you're by yourself or anything, the Pro Angler, you just feel more safe in it.
Sure.
Like that.
Well, I'll tell you, you would have been hurting if you were where me and Tyler and Josh were fishing this past weekend, because when we were coming in, the winds were probably blowing 20, 25. We were going into the wind, less than a foot of water. And I know they were having a paddle. So you'd have been in some trouble paddling that PA 14 through that. So did you do any scouting prior to the tournament?
I did. I scouted down Highway 23.
Mm-hmm.
So, I didn't really go try to scout for the bull red. I scouted more for the trout, get a couple idea where the trout are at. I had an idea of where the bull reds were going to be at. It was just a matter of time before he comes running through pretty much.
Sure. And so you, I know I'd seen some videos of you fishing a couple weekends ago down Highway 23, and y'all had got on some bulls. I talked to you about that, and you insisted emphatically that there were no bulls out there. They were just regular slot-sized redfish, despite the video showing some sizable redfish being caught. As I also recall, I asked you if any trout were being caught, and you, no trout being caught. But you were actually able to find the trout. I know, right now it's a little bit difficult time to find trout down 23. You were actually able to find some for the tournament then.
Yeah, well, in the morning, I actually, I struggled on a trout, and I had one trout that just barely made 12. Like I literally had to squeeze his tail to make him at least touch the 12. And I said, all right, well, I'll take that for right now, and let's try to find me a red at least, and upgrade.
Yeah. So, looking at your totals, I was looking at the totals. You had the way IFA does it, it's not by weight, it's by combined measurement between the measurement for your bull red and your trout, and you had a combined measurement of 53.5 inches.
Yes.
Yeah. So your red was actually 38.5, and you end up finding a 15-inch trout.
Correct.
Now, Tyler, I don't know, had you put that picture of Terry's redfish yet?
Yeah, I have the redfish and the trout on the screen.
Yeah. What is that? You've got a little band or something around the tail of your redfish. Was that like a rubber band or?
Yes. Oh, it's actually a hair tie.
Okay.
I guess it's a form of, instead of pinching the tail yourself and trying to take a picture of such a big fish.
Yeah.
Use that as a tool.
So, and I had that issue. And it's a good idea you had when I was taking a picture of my red. I lost probably half an inch because the tail was really spread out. He had a big tail, was really spread out. I probably lost half an inch on that picture because when I could pinch it, you could certainly get more measurement out of them. So you end up fishing down Highway 23 on the day of the tournament.
Correct.
And that was certainly a safe call. You didn't have to worry really so much about the traffic with it being on Mardi Gras weekend. Tell us about your strategy going into it. Did you target the redfish early or the trout, or how were you approaching it?
I was targeting the trout first. First in the morning, I was throwing a Miradyne, a 17 MR around, and I caught a couple 10-inch trout in one spot, and I said, you know what, I don't want to keep wasting my time right here. Let's move on to the next spot.
Mm-hmm.
Next spot, and that's when I picked up a 12. I said, all right, well, a 12 would do for right now. Let's, so now I have to go run to my bull spot, so I wound up running my bull spot. And pretty much after I put away the MR17, I was using a 4 horseman cord with a death grip jig head and gulp, the swimming mullet, and
the yellow one with the curly tail.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good bait.
And I wind up upgrading, catching a 15-inch trout, the same spot, exactly where I caught my bull at.
Oh wow! Okay.
It was just different times. It was probably about 30 minutes apart from each other, but I literally caught them at the same spot.
So how many redfish did you end up catching that day?
Oh, actually, only one.
Just the one.
Just the one.
Just the one big bull.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, that's very fortunate you were able to find them. You felt pretty good after catching that red and that trout. You may have a shot.
Yeah, I was. I told myself, I was like, 53 inches. I was like, I'll take that. It's especially, and I think I had them by 11 o'clock. I had both fish by 11 o'clock, and I was like, man, trying to upgrade a trout at 11 or 12 it's a little tough, especially 15 inches in Louisiana is it's not super big, but it's sometimes it's tough to upgrade.
Yeah, yeah, and considering the area you were in, you're not in a big wintertime spot, and I'm sure at that point the wind was probably starting to pick up a little bit as well.
Yep, and I was like, I'll just take my 53 inches and just see what he could do,
Yeah. So you end up placing second out of some great anglers. I know at least, I think 4 or 5 of the guys fishing qualified or have qualified previously for the Hobie Worlds. Yes. You've got some long time anglers out there, kayak anglers that fish this tournament all the time that came into town, and you were able to beat them out. That's a great shot. Was this your first IFA tournament?
No, this is actually my 4th. I fished 2 last year and the championship.
Okay.
And like I said, that was me getting my feet wet and learning the whole system, how everything works. And
yeah,
and I told myself, I said, this year I have a better idea of what to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what was your payout for second place?
It was second place with 500, and I had an angler advantage, which was extra $355. So I wind up winning about $900.
That's fantastic. That's not bad for a weekend hobby.
No, it's not.
Now I understand that your lifelong goal, your dream, as you said, was once to become the first Asian to win a Bayou Coast tournament. Was that it, or was it the championship? I forget which one it was.
Yeah, but hey, it's a dream.
It's a dream. We all have our dreams. My dream is to one day fish the Hobie Worlds, but we'll see.
Hobie Worlds is tough, man. I mean,
Yeah.
But I'd like to go one year,
Absolutely.
But, it's It's definitely something that you got to put out the time and work for,
Yes. So you fished. You finished second at the IFA. Is this your highest finish in any tournament?
No. I mean, I guess for a big tournament, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
For a bigger tournament, yeah.
Okay. Great. All right. Well, look, we're going to come back to you in a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about Trout Challenge and maybe get your thoughts on that. But let's switch over to Francis now. Francis, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing swell.
Yeah.
I've been looking for this moment all day.
All day. So I know, Francis, you get a little stage fright.
A little bit. I mean, I wasn't expecting all this fame after this win, so I'm not used to it.
Well, just think there are literally tens of people watching you right now, so it's all good. But by the end of the day, next time someone comes up, they're going to see you at the next tournament. And say, hey, that's that guy Francis. I know he won IFA this past event down in Louisiana. So you'll be famous just like Terry. Then you'll get to forget everybody else's names like I do sometimes. So look, Francis, I know you did. You live in Baton Rouge, is that right?
That's correct.
And where did you go to school? We were talking about that the other just a little while ago.
I went to college at Mississippi State. I'm actually from Mississippi, and
really, okay.
I moved to Baton Rouge 3 years ago when I graduated, and I'm doing engineering over here for some time.
Okay, what type of engineering are you in?
Electrical engineering.
Okay, fantastic.
What company?
I do contracting work for Entergy. Yeah.
Now, how long have you been kayak fishing?
My first tournament was Minimalist Challenge last year.
So you're going on a year and a half?
About a year and a half, yeah.
Yeah, and what type of kayak are you in?
I'm in a PA 14.
Jeez, man, all these PAs out there. All these Hobie guys. I know Tyler's getting a little uncomfortable over there.
Yeah. But I mean, I actually started off with academy, just a $400 academy, a kayak in high school. And I messed around with that for a little while, and I flipped a few times. And then I just figured, I'm going to just cry one time, just buy the best of the best you can get. So.
Absolutely. So, it's only a matter of time. It's one of those things that eventually everyone's going to fall at their kayak. I've done it. And I had a perception from Academy and I had been fishing with an Outback, and I lent a friend of mine my Outback while I was going to use the perception. And I stepped into it thinking it was like my Outback and right into the water, and then went on my gear as well. So you once you go back to a kayak like that after you've been in something like an Outback, you can really appreciate the stability in some of these, higher priced models. I mean, you got to pay money for them, but man, it's a world of difference in fishing in them.
Yeah.
So, did you get to do any scouting before this tournament?
I did not. I had plans to go scout Saturday, but I went to a wedding on Friday, and you know what happens at weddings?
A lot of dancing.
Make it.
Yeah.
Too much dancing.
So what area did you end up fishing for the tournament? Where'd you end up going?
I ended up fishing St. Bernard Parish.
Okay.
And it's no surprise. I'll just tell you where I went. I went to Hopedale.
Hopedale. Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of guys fished out there. I know the dam's a real popular area for that. I personally haven't had a whole lot of luck there, but man, they can pull some big fish out of there, some big reds, if you can find them. So that's something actually Tyler and I were talking about earlier. With fish finders, you don't really get to use them a lot in Louisiana because you're fishing in the marsh. You're fishing in 2-3 foot of water. You're not really looking for schools of fish underneath you in 2 or 3 foot of water. But when you start getting into that 20, 30 foot range, those fish finders, I think, come in really handy. I think some of the guys had actually shared some pictures they took of the fish finders and showing some of the schools of the bait and the bull reds and everything. And that was pretty cool to see. And I know it's something that we'd probably like to have on here one day as far as a little seminar on how to read that. So what was your strategy going out there? So, you launched over at Hopedale. You hadn't got to pre-fish. What were you thinking?
Yeah. So going into it, I was kind of like in between fishing Highway 23 just because of how the format of IFA is, where, the tournament is hosted in Lafitte, but you can fish any Louisiana water. So I knew a lot of people like for like the championship and other tournaments they fish Grand Isle, and I was like 3-hour drive to cut out of fishing. It just wasn't worth it. And so I thought about fishing Highway 23. I gave it a lot of thought actually. But then with the wind direction, I was like, man, I feel like the water wouldn't be really good to fish over there, just because I feel like the water would have been like real stirred up and whatnot. And I knew Oakdale had deep water, and just that deep water right there. I knew a lot of people catch bulls out there. So, and on a worst case basis, you can always catch a trout out there.
Yeah.
So that was my mindset going into it. So the day before, I kind of just said, you know what, I'm just gonna go fish Hopedale. I saw some upcoming like reports that people were catching trout out there and whatnot. So I was like, leading up to the tournament. So I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. But I was kind of not sure whether I was going to start the morning going straight out to the canal or fishing the marsh.
The marsh right across from the marina.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I, like when I launched, I saw the majority of the people shoot out to the canal. And then I thought, you know what? I can catch both the bull red and the trout out in the canal, but I can't catch the bull red. Well, it's less likely to catch the bull red and the trout in the marsh. So
absolutely,
I went ahead and made the decision to just shoot out to the canal and fish.
And look, Francis, Dorothy actor right there, posted a picture, I think, on Bayou Coast, I think. Had to be like 8 o'clock or something, of I think a decent little bull in a marsh.
It was. I was out there early and had a bull at 30 inches, probably in the first 30 minutes of fishing, and I was kind of just promoting the IFA a little bit, sharing the love, showing you guys, hey, got a little heat coming after you, so you guys fishing the dam. We were out there. Unfortunately, that was the highlight of the day. When you hit it 30 minutes in, at least it's you've got a shot. But I'll share my story in a little bit. So Francis, you get out there, everybody's heading for the dam. Is that where you end up deciding to go to catch your bull red?
Yeah, so I pull up in the morning like at 5:30, and everyone's just kind of they have like a little covered like patio there, and it was raining when we got there, or at least when I got there.
Yeah,
and there's like 5-6 people just sitting there waiting to launch, and they're like all rigged up and ready to go. I'm like, oh man, I'm late. So I pushed back. Every 6:20, everyone launches except for like 4 or 5 guys. And so I was like 10 minutes behind them. So by the time I got out there, everyone was like already at the dam. And so this is like new to me. This is my first IFA. And actually, this is the first time I fished the canal in Oakdale. so I get out there and I don't.
Beginner's luck.
Yeah, truly beginner's luck, I guess. So I get out there and I see, and I don't want to fish on top of anybody, and I really don't like to fish behind people. So if I can't be in front of them, then I'm not going to fish over there at all, I guess. So I cut straight across the canal, and I'm kind of just letting them push me, and then I come across a flat, and I'm not really used to fishing. Well, I'm not used to fishing like 30 feet of water. Yeah. It's just not normal for me. So I come across like this little flat when it gets like 4 to 5 feet, and I'm more comfortable there. So, and then just with the conditions that were the fishing that day, there was a little bit of chop and it was really foggy, and so I was like, this is like the perfect scenario for the she dog, because just the high pitch and just the fog, if you're going after the big girls, So I start throwing it, and I get like 4 or 5 boils on it. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I can see like the trout flashing on it. They're just coming at it, but they can't take it. It's like so big. And then I throw that next cast, and man, that 41-inch bull red that I caught like came halfway out the water for it.
Wow.
And it was on. Yeah.
It was exciting, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I was shaking when I was reeling it in.
I'm sure. Did you get a good Cajun sleigh ride out of him?
Oh yeah, for sure. Actually got me wrapped up in a crab trap.
Oh.
Yeah, but I got it out, and somehow got him in.
So were the other guys kind of close to you? Were they keeping an eye on you, seeing what was going on?
It was so funny because it was so foggy that by the time I think I caught it and I let it go, I think like one of the other guys was coming by, and then they're like, I was like, they're like, you go by and they're like this,
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I just caught a 41-inch. They're like, what? Yeah.
So you hadn't had your trout at that point.
So I was looking back at my photos and like what time I caught all my fish, and I caught that bull red at 7:00.
At 7:00.
I caught it at 7:00, and then so I was like, all right, now I just got to catch my trout. So
you really couldn't figure you were going to upgrade that bull red at that point, I think.
Yeah. So I was like, this was my research coming into the event. I was like, all right, let me go watch as many IFA YouTube videos as I can, and just see like what the guys are catching, And so I was like, 41, this is not going to get much better than that. So I was like, I'm going to start fishing for trout. And so I actually drifted that little flat again, and I started getting boils again. But after a while, like I got a lot of like just slaps at it and stuff. So I was like, all right. And then after a little bit, it quit biting. So then at that point, I circled around and started fishing the dam. I went to the dam and fished, and I threw jerk baits and everything, and I didn't get any bites. And then I drifted that flat again after like 30 minutes or so. And then I got my first trout, which was like 13.5.
Yeah. Well, you end up, I think so you read your total combined measurement, looking at everything, was 55.5 inches. Your red was 41 and your trout was 14.5.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you were, I think, 2 inches further over than second place, but that was just a beast of a redfish that you caught. And on top water, I'm sure you were a little nervous. I know anytime I catch a redfish on top water, those treble hooks start flying, and it gets a little nerve wracking.
Yeah, when I went to go net him, he was so big, the top water got stuck in the net, and like only his head was in it, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I started trying to grab him.
Well, that was a great finish for you. So you, I understand that was the only red you caught that day.
Yeah, that's the only red I caught, and I was like, there's no point in trying to upgrade that. And then I was paddling back in, so I thought, I fished out here, and I'm going to try to upgrade my trout. I didn't really know what anybody else had. I think someone paddled by me, were like, yeah, I got 15. So I was like, all right, I need to try to upgrade. And when I was pedaling in, I was just jigging the bank, and then I caught a 14.5 inch, so I upgraded it by an inch. And then I went into the marsh, and I didn't get I caught a slam that day. I caught a flounder.
I saw that flounder. That was incredible. I actually came down there to try to catch a trout. I had my red, and I was hoping. I knew with a 30-inch red there wasn't much chance of winning it, but just looking to get a top 10 maybe with a trout. And I had 4 or 5 blowups. I lost a trout that day. It came up. I never got to see his body, but when his mouth came up to shake it, his mouth was so big I could have put my fist in it. I really would have liked to have seen it, but just my unfortunate luck that day fishing top water. Just could never seem to get him hooked up that day. Now, you had a good payout as well, finishing first. I know the payouts for IFA are really good. What was your payout for that?
I got big red and I got first place. So the payout for first place was $1,000, and then big red was $100.
Oh wow! So you walk away, little weekend trip, $1,100. Yeah,
and I kind of kicking myself because I always sign up for like all the options, and this time I didn't sign up for Angler Advantage because I was like, nah, I'm not gonna get in the money.
Yeah.
And then this is the first time, and then I got first place somehow. So.
So, and I'm sure Terry was very happy he didn't sign up for Angler Advantage. I think he ended up finishing first in that category, right, Terry?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So just to recap, I'm looking over the results here, and again, Francis, you finished in first at 55.5. Terry, you finished in second at 53.5. Matt Van, I know he was in from Florida. He finished right behind you, Terry. He was at 53.13. Matt Carr, local guide from PAC, he finished in fourth, 52.88. Derek Douglas, fifth at 51.13. Aaron Clay, guy from Mississippi, does really well out there, 50. And Brock Miller, who we had on here a couple times, with the backpacker, finished in seventh place at 49.13. What really impressed me, though, we had some big redfish caught, but also the trout that were caught. And I think Tyler may have some pictures. Matt Van had a trout that went 23.25 inch. It's a real nice sized trout. And I thought Brock Miller had a 19.5 inch trout that he caught that day. So again, there's some big trout out there right now, in the parish. Just got to try to find them. Hopefully, it's been cold the last few days. This weather's going to warm up tomorrow, and then by Saturday, I think it should be about 75 degrees or so, and should hopefully get the trout biting again. It's gonna be kind of challenging to figure out where they went after this little brief cold snap we had. So guys, let's go switch over to Trout Challenge now. So this tournament takes place this Saturday on March 9th, and the legal areas to fish include all of St. Bernard Parish. So as long as you launch in St. Bernard, you can fish in any area that you can pedal or paddle to. I think most of that's going to be mostly St. Bernard. I don't know if there's any areas where you get to St. Tammany or anything like that. Unlike the IFA, this tournament goes by weight. The heaviest weight of 10 trout will win. To kind of just recap some of the rules here, you can have over 10 trout with you, but you can only weigh in your 10 heaviest. Generally, we allow one oops, meaning that if your trout is under 12 inches, you can replace it with a legal one. However, if you submit two trout under 12 inches, you will be disqualified from the tournament. There's generally an extra measuring board around. So if you want to pre-measure your fish before submitting them, feel free to use it. We use the same. We'll have a pre-measure board and a regular measuring board. But once you hand your fish to the officer who's weighing, you can't pull them back. So just try to make sure that you think that the trout's legal or not. We really hate DQing anybody. There's also a big trout category. It's an extra $5. This amount gets paid back, though, 100% to the anglers who weigh in the heaviest trout. So it's a winner take all type scenario, and I'm really looking forward to see what type of trout we're going to get in this weekend, with the 23 and a 19 being caught this past weekend. And those were people who are focusing mainly on bull reds. This is just going to be a strictly trout tournament. So a lot of that tackle that we were using last time won't really be necessary this time. So it'd be nice to just focus on one fish.
Hey, another rule. So we noticed in the rules today for Trout Challenge that there was a typo, and the weigh-in time says from 2 p.m. to 2 p.m. And we're going to be revising that and making an announcement. I think it should be 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Right, Sean?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. So the legal launch time is 5:45 a.m. So you can put your kayak in the water. You can kind of pedal around the little staging area wherever you're launching at, but you can't go forth until 5:45. Certainly, we advise everybody to use your best judgment. This past weekend, with the heavy fog that was around, I don't know if it was light to around 6:20, 6:15 or so. So use your judgment. Don't put yourself in a dangerous situation to get out to an area 10 or 15 minutes early. It's just not worth it. I know for the boat tournament for IFA, they held the launch, I think, for 2 hours. I don't think they let them launch till like 8:30 in the morning due to the heavy fog, which was certainly the right call. Certainly, all anglers are required to wear a PFD when fishing it. Only artificial bait is allowed. You can use scents. You can use gulp, Terry. So you're good. Corks. Just no artificial, no live bait or dead bait. The weigh-in is going to be from 2 to 3 at last stop. If you're not sure where last stop is, you can't miss it. It's basically right there at the four-way where you can either take a left to head to Shell Beach or Hopedale, or you continue going straight to head down to Delacroix or Reggio. It's a little sandwich shop. We encourage everybody to get out there and get some food. I think she might be making some pasta for us that you can buy over there, but they've got good hamburgers, good po' boys, all that good stuff over there. When you go to weigh in your fish, make sure you have all the fish you want to weigh in with you. You're not, once you get up to the table to weigh in your fish, you're not allowed to go back to your car, grab more fish if one of your fish is under or anything like that. So make sure you have everything with you when you go up to the weigh-in. For some of our new guys, we're going to try to help you out on these podcasts. Some of the launch sites out there, some of the more popular launch sites are going to be in Hopedale at the marina right there. There's also a launch down in Shell Beach at Campos. There is the Reggio launch. And Tyler, I think you've got some pictures of the different launch sites up there.
There's also Sweetwater too in Delacroix.
Yeah. There's the Sweetwater down in Delacroix, and then you've got Pip's launch, which is right over there across from Hopedale Lagoon. Now, all of these launches, so you got Hopedale, Shell Beach. I think Shell Beach allows you to launch kayaks for free. I think Campos allows you to launch kayak for free. Hopedale, I know it's a $5 charge, but those marinas, they all sell ice, and Hopedale's got a nice kayak launch for people, specific kayak launch designed for launching kayaks in big parking lots. They want you to keep an eye on your stuff, which is nice as well. Reggio, it's an honor box. I forget if it's $5 or $10, but there's no one there. But they do come by and check it. So make sure that you pay your fee. And I think it's right there by the little shed. It's either $5 or $10. So bring cash because there's going to be no one there to make change for you. Pips is the same thing. Pips is an honor box. I think Tyler's got a map for you if you're not sure where it's at. But basically, you can launch from Pips and then paddle straight across the canal into to Hopedale Lagoon. Sweetwater is also a paid launch. I think that one may be $10, but they'll have ice there. They have drinks there. Down in Delacroix, if you're looking for live bait, not for this tournament certainly, but for other tournaments, they have live bait for there as well. So, as does Campos, and I think Hopedale Marina as well. So again, there were some nice trout caught out there this weekend. Talking to some people, I know some of these fish came on top water. With the wind conditions, you never know. I know certainly once that wind starts kicking up, top water is going to be very difficult to fish with. You're going to probably want to switch over to something like a popping cork with different baits. A lot of times voodoo is a good bait. The shrimp, some gulp, if the water's dirty, may help to try to attract some of the fish coming in. Looking at the forecast earlier today, it looks like we're going to avoid some rain for the tournament, but we do expect some wind to come in, especially a little bit later in the morning. So when you're planning your trip, make sure you take that into account. I know when I ran into Francis this weekend at Hopedale, that wind was ripping through the canal right in front of the marina, and it was white capping over there. I know it was difficult. You guys were actually having difficulty making it back to the launch because the current was pushing you through.
Yeah, it was like, so whenever if you've ever been in a kayak and the wind catches the side of you, it's really hard to turn. And that wind was ripping so hard that I was like just spinning in circles basically. And I'm glad you were actually there. I don't even know how I would have got into the launch.
Yeah, it was difficult, and I'm glad everybody got in safely and everything. But certainly, take a look at the wind forecast the night before. Take a look at maps. Where do you think you may be fishing? Where the wind direction is coming from? If you plan on coming back against the wind, just know some of those areas can be real difficult. Can push some water out if you're fishing shallow water. I know we had some issues coming in with some low water and having to paddle, and it was a real challenge. So, if you're not fishing with somebody, make sure someone knows where you're fishing at. Just with these conditions, we just like to make sure everybody's careful. Looks like it's going to be a real pretty morning early with a little bit of wind coming in a little bit later on. So, if you plan on fishing some bigger water early on, maybe have a backup plan to come in and fish some marsh or something like that a little bit later. So certainly there's some protected canals and areas you can fish close to some of the marinas. Hopedale Marina's got marsh right across from it. It's real easy to get to. You can go down and try some canals a little bit further down that also look, pretty good. Same thing with Reggio. You can fish in Reggio at the marina. There's some protected areas right back up in there that might be helpful. So, certainly if you've never fished a tournament before, you have questions, you can reach out to an officer or just talk to some of the people and get some ideas about what to do. The other thing to look at also is going to be water temperature. It's been cold over the last few days. Don't know what that, how it's going to affect the water temperature. I'm sure it's going to drop some this past weekend. I think where I was at, it was probably in the low 70s. I don't know if you guys checked the temperature where you guys were at when y'all were fishing. Terry or Francis, did y'all happen to look at any of that?
Yeah, I think when I started, the water was about like 68.
Yeah,
might have got up a little bit as today progressed, but I didn't check it after that.
So and so if the water's warmer, certainly they may be a little bit shallower water. If the water stays a little bit cooler, you may want to look for some deeper canals. See if they try a little bit deeper. They've got to be somewhere. So make sure to bring some heavier jig heads with you if you want to fish a little bit deep, and all that. So you guys just had a great weekend. Have y'all thought anything about this? I think both of y'all are fishing this tournament, correct?
Correct. I haven't signed up yet, but
I might have been the first one to sign up.
I think you were. Terry, you haven't signed up yet?
I think you were.
I haven't. I'll be signed up later in the week.
Okay.
So trying to figure out the game plan, kind of.
What's your game plan, Terry? Fill us in a little bit. What do you think you're going to do?
I don't know where I would go yet. Because I've actually never fished down St. Bernard.
That's what you keep telling me. That you keep telling me this, and I just don't know if I can believe it. So you've never fished St. Bernard. You got any ideas about what kind of tackle you might be using this weekend? You want to share with us?
Well, pretty much it's going to be the Terry Pham special.
Yeah, and that would be the 4 Horsemen popping cork.
Yep.
Yellow curly tail mullet.
Yeah, that's usually my go-to. Either that or the voodoo shrimp works good too. Sometimes I like to carry both. Like this weekend, I carried both. 2 cork setups, one with voodoo and one with the goat.
Absolutely.
Because in doing that, you make yourself a little more efficient too.
You're not having to cut off.
Retying or anything.
That's a good idea. Francis, what about you? What you got in mind for this weekend?
I was looking at the forecast, and it's looking the forecast is looking a lot like Sunday.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Maybe I'll do the same thing, and maybe it'll result in the same result too. So who knows?
You gonna go after that 41-inch bull red again?
Yeah, just for fun. Who knows?
It's funny. I finally got a little point where some trout were biting, and I was getting some nice blowups on top water. And I had 2 missed blowups on top water, and I throw back over there. That third one was a 24-inch red. And nothing like a 24-inch red hitting on top water to really screw up your trout bite. So I actually had to leave that spot and come back to it later. Unfortunately, still couldn't pick it up. So I know we've got some giveaways that we're doing today. I think Terry and Francis were kind enough to donate some stuff to some of these people who've come on. Terry, what do you have? What are you giving away for us tonight?
I have some Death Grip jig heads. Is a 3-pack of pretty much like a sample pack kind of the 116 is what I usually use under a cork. And he is a sponsor for the club. So we can help our sponsors out.
Absolutely.
The 4 Horsemen cork.
That thing is loud, isn't it? When you pop it.
And the bull reds and the redfish go crazy over it.
They love it.
The trout, sometimes I use the oval one. The oval one's a little more, I guess, quieter, a little more seldom. And it sounds to me, and I think I catch trout better on the oval one than this one. But I catch them on both.
Okay.
But they both make slightly different, sounds.
Gotcha. So we've got the Death Grip jib heads. We've got the 4 Horsemen cork, and I think Francis, you were throwing a couple things in to round off the package, huh?
Yeah. So I got a few packs of the good old gulp And then,
white scented gulp is good.
Yeah. And then I got some mirror lures.
Those are great baits.
And some Spook Juniors. I like this personally. And one thing about this is, so I was getting a lot of boils on Sunday on the She Dog on trout, but they couldn't take it. I guess the She Dog was just too big, or they just kept on missing it. I don't know. And so I was like, all right, let me try to throw this Spook. But I mean, just because the pitch is so different and like the Spook's so much more quieter, it's like they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. So I swapped back. And but this is definitely something to throw for trout. That's probably like my go-to top water. And then I got some rattle traps, which
fantastic!
I like throwing these too.
So Terry, how many of the Four Horsemen Cork Death Grip jig head packs do we have?
I have 3.
Okay.
Pretty much 3 sets.
3 sets, and then Francis, do you have how many of the gulp packages do you have? 3.
I got 3 of everything.
Okay,
so
great. So let's
we just pick 3 people and
let's do that. So Tyler, what I have here is I've got a list of everybody who shared it right here. Why don't you do a random number generator from 1 through 40, so we make sure we're really random, and we'll go through and we'll announce the winners right now.
Okay, give me 1 second to get it pulled up.
So we'll have Tyler doing this, and I'm going to go through the list here, and based on the order we have of people that we will figure out which numbers we have, and we'll announce some winners here real quick. So what numbers we got?
I'm going to try to show this on the screen. I don't know if you can. Let me know if you can see it. Can you read that?
Okay. So what's the first number?
We got 1 through 40. I'm going to hit generate. That's number 8.
Number 8. Okay. Hang on just a second. Let's go through. 1, 2, 3. Number 8, Mike Malone shared the post. So Mike Malone, you've got one of the packages here. 4 Horsemen, Death Grip jig head, some gulp, and some other nice goodies there, courtesy of Francis and Terry. So Mike, just make arrangements. We're not going to have the guys mail it to you, but certainly if you show up at Trout Challenge or something like that, we'll make arrangements to get it to you. So just go ahead and send me a text message, Sean Restanis on Facebook, and we'll make sure we get the arrangements to get the baits over to you. All right, Tyler, what's the next number we got?
28.
28. All right, let's see who we got here.
Hope it's not me.
Hope it ain't Sean.
Hang on, guys.
Look, it's just 2 inches shorter than your bull head.
Just need one more guy. Okay. Looks like it is. Let's see. Hang on, guys. We definitely had an easier way to do this, but
You got to start counting from the beginning again.
What it sounds like.
Don't mess them up.
$25. I don't know. It's acting funny because it'd come up to Terry Pham, and then after that, it would be me. But actually, hang on. I got it figured out here. Let's see. Actually, it looks like AJ Hudak Gilliat. AJ Hudak Gilliat looks like shared this post 28. So AJ, get us a shout out, and we'll get it taken care of for you. We'll get those baits over to you. All right, Tyler, who else we got? One more.
It is.
Hopefully it's a small number.
25.
I think that was me, huh?
Yeah, I think that was you. Yeah.
So that was me re-rolling.
We'll go again.
All right.
29.
Let's see. Yeah, it's not showing up, Tyler. We're gonna have to go with a little bit lower number.
All right, this one should do it. How about 2?
2.
Please don't be me.
On Gil. Esteban. I know Esteban. He won that little pre-Milimus tournament we had, so that's great. Esteban, make sure you reach out to us, and we'll text all these guys here, and find a ways to get these baits to you guys. So other than that, I think we're gonna have an early episode tonight. We look forward to seeing you guys at Trout Challenge here coming up this weekend. If you haven't registered yet, go ahead and register. Again, you have till Friday at noon. Looking forward to that tournament. And then, guys, I know we've got coming up here a month from now is going to be Double Trouble. That's one I've been looking forward to ever since we announced it. Have y'all picked y'all partners yet? Figured out who you're fishing with?
Who you fishing with?
I don't have any friends that didn't fish the championship. So.
Oh, you only fish with good fishermen, huh, Francis?
I guess. Those are the only people that have good information. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look,
coming off an IFA win, you might have a line of people interested.
Absolutely.
Maybe. I'll be taking resumes.
Look, there's going to be plenty of people out there wanting to fish with somebody who knows what they're doing. So, don't be afraid to sign up. We'll match people up, or certainly look for people in the club and say, hey, I'm looking to fish with somebody for the tournament, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of volunteers out there. So it's gonna be a fun tournament. We'll certainly gonna have a show about that here after this tournament. We're gonna get the winners on board for Trout Challenge. Hopefully, maybe we'll see you guys back on the leaderboard for next week. I know Angler of the Year is going to be tight this year. Should be a lot of fun. I know you guys are wanting to compete and hopefully qualify for the championship. Again, top 15 paid club members who finish in the top 15 of this tournament will qualify for the Bayou Coast Championship that we'll be announcing the location here shortly. So hopefully you guys will do well and get to qualify for the championship of this tournament. So look, Terry and Francis, thanks for coming on tonight and sharing your stories with us. We look forward to seeing you guys this weekend, and good luck to you guys. To everybody else, we're going to wrap it up now. Certainly if you want to hear this again, you can go to Off the Water, be available on Apple Podcast, and it'll be on YouTube, and Tyler will have it up on the forum shortly. So good night, everybody. We'll see you guys this weekend.
All right.
Thanks. See you then.
All right. Thanks.